Kokālika. Contains a shorter, less graphic version of this sutta. I have heard that on one occasion the Blessed One was staying near Sāvatthī in Jeta's grove, Anāthapiṇḍika's monastery. Then the monk Kokālika went to the Blessed One and, on arrival, bowed down to him and sat to one side. As he was sitting there, he said to the Blessed One, Lord, Sāriputta and Moggallāna have evil desires. They have fallen under the sway of evil desires. When this was said, the Blessed One said to him, Don't say that, Kokālika. Don't say that, Kolālika. Make your mind confident in Sāriputta and Moggallāna. They are admirable people. A second time, a third time, the monk Kokālika said to the Blessed One, Even though the Lord Blessed One inspires conviction and faith in me, Sāriputta and Moggallāna have evil desires. They have fallen under the sway of evil desires. A third time, the Blessed One said to him, Don't say that, Kokālika. Don't say that, Kolālika. Make your mind confident in Sāriputta and Moggallāna. They are admirable people. Then the monk Kokālika, getting up from his seat, bowed down to the Blessed One, circumambulated him, keeping him to his right, and departed. Then not long after he had departed, Kokālika's whole body became covered with boils the size of mustard seeds. From the size of mustard seeds they became the size of green gram. From the size of green gram, they became the size of black beans. From the size of black beans, they became the size of jujube pits. From the size of jujube pits, they became the size of jujube fruits. From the size of jujube fruits, they became the size of myrobalans. From the size of myrobalans, they became the size of unripe vilva fruits. From the size of unripe vilva fruits, they became the size of small jackfruits. When they were the size of small jackfruits, they burst. Blood and pus flowed out. Then the monk Kokālika died of that disease, and, having died, he reappeared in the Paduma hell for engendering hatred in his heart against Sāriputta and Moggallāna. Then Brahma, Mahampati, in the far extreme of the night, his extreme radiance lighting up the entirety of Jeta's grove, went to the Blessed One. On arrival, having bowed down to him, he stood to one side. As he was standing there, he said to the Blessed One, Lord, the monk Kokālika has died and, having died, has reappeared in the Paduma hell for engendering hatred in his heart against Sāriputta and Moggallāna. That is what Brahma Mahampati said. Having said that, having bowed down, he circumambulated the Blessed One, keeping him to his right, and disappeared right there. Then when the night had passed, the Blessed One addressed the monks, last night Brahma Mahampati, in the far extreme of the night, his extreme radiance lighting up the entirety of Jeta's grove, came to me. On arrival, having bowed down to me, he stood to one side. As he was standing there, he said to me, Lord, the monk Kokālika has died and, having died, has reappeared in the Paduma hell for engendering hatred in his heart against Sāriputta and Moggallāna. That is what Brahma Mahampati said. Having said that, having bowed down, he circumambulated me, keeping me to his right, and disappeared right there. When this was said, a certain monk said to the Blessed One, Lord, how long is the measure of the lifespan in the Paduma hell? Long, monk, is the measure of the lifespan in the Paduma hell. It's not easy to calculate this many years or this many hundreds of years or this many thousands of years or this many hundreds of thousands of years. Single quote. But, Lord, can a simile be made? It can, monk, said the Blessed One. Suppose that there were a 20-measure Kokālika cartload of sesame seeds. From that, a man would remove a sesame seed every 100 years. That 20-measure Kokālika cartload of sesame seeds would come to an end in this manner more quickly than a single abuda. Swelling. Hell. Like 20 abuda hells is 1 narabuda. Free from swelling. Hell. Like 20 narabuda hells is 1 ababa. Alas. Closing square bracket. Hell. Like 20 ababa hells is 1 ahaha hell. Like 20 ahaha hells is 1 atata hell. Like 20 atata hells is 1 kumuda. White water lily. Hell. Like 20 kumuda hells is 1 Sagandhika. Fragrant white water lily. Hell. Like 20 Sagandhika hells is 1 Upalaka. Blue Lotus. Hell. Like 20 Upalaka hells is 1 Pundarika. White Lotus. Hell. Like 20 Pundarika hells is 1 Paduma. Red Lotus. Hell. Dot. The monk Kokālika has reappeared in the Paduma hell for engendering hatred in his heart against Sāriputta and Moggallāna. Dot. That is what the Blessed One said. Having said that, the one well gone, the teacher, said further. Surely, when a person is born, an axe is born in his mouth, with which he cuts himself. The fool saying a bad statement. Whoever praises one deserving censure, or censures one deserving praise, accumulates wickedness with his mouth, and in that wickedness finds no ease. Next to nothing is the bad throw. When one loses money at dice, but great is the bad throw when one gets angered at those well gone. For 100,000 Narabuddhas, and 36 and 5 Abuddhas, one who maligns noble ones, directing his words and heart toward evil, goes to hell. Dot. He goes to hell. The one who asserts what didn't take place, as does the one who, having done, says, I didn't. Single quote. Dot. Both low-acting people there become equal after death in the place beyond. Dot. Whoever harasses an innocent man, a man pure without blemish, the evil comes right back to the fool, like fine dust thrown against the wind. Dot. One devoted to the strings of greed slanders others with his words. Faithless, stingy, miserly, mean, devoted to divisive tales. You with your hard road of a mouth, untrue, ignoble, destroyer of progress, evil doer of wrong, lowest of men, wicked, degenerate. Don't speak a lot here. You are headed to hell. You scatter dust to your harm. You, an offender, malign the good, and, having engaged in many sorts of bad conduct, or going for a long time to the pit, for no one's action is annihilated. Surely its owner gets it back. An offender, the fool, sees suffering for himself. In the next world, he goes to the place set with iron spikes, the sharp-bladed iron stake, where the food, as is fitting, resembles a ball of heated iron. When they, the hell wardens, speak, they don't speak lovingly. They, the hell beings, can't run away. They're not going to shelter. They lie on ashes strewn about. They enter a blazing mass of fire, tying them up with nets. They, the hell wardens, strike them with hammers made of iron. Truly, they go to a blind darkness that spreads out like a fog. Then they enter a copper pot, a blazing mass of fire, in which they cook for a long, long time, bobbing up and down in a mass of fire. There the offender then cooks, in a mixture of blood and pus. In whatever direction he leans to rest, he festers at the touch. There the offender then cooks, in a noose where worms live, and there is no shore to which he can go, for the cooking pots all around are all the same. Then they enter the sharp sword-leaf forest, where their limbs are cut off, seizing them by the tongue with a hook. They, the hell wardens, strike them, dragging them back and forth. Then they come to the veteran, hard to cross, with sharp blades, razor blades, and there they fall in. The fools, evildoers having done evil deeds, there, while they wail, voracious black and spotted dogs, jackals, and flocks of ravens chew on them. Vultures and crows pick at them. How hard, indeed, is this way of life there, that offending people come to see. So, for the remainder of life here, a person, heedful, should do his duty. Those loads of sesame seeds, compared to the Paduma hell, have been calculated by those who know, as 5 times 10,000 crores, plus 12 times 100 more. The length of the hells of suffering, described here, is how long the hell beings will have to dwell there. So when in the company of those who are pure, admirable, excellent, one should constantly guard one's words and heart. SN. PTS. SN. Nalaka Sutta. Tinalaka. Translated from the Pali by Thanissaro Bhikkhu. Copyright Asita the seer, in his midday meditation, saw the devas of the group of 30, exultant, ecstatic, dressed in pure white, honoring Indra, holding up banners, cheering wildly. And on seeing the devas so joyful and happy, having paid his respects, he said, "Why is the Deva community so wildly elated? Why are they holding up banners and waving them around? Even after the war with the Asuras, when victory was the Devas, the Asuras defeated, even then there was no excitement like this. Seeing what marvel? Are the Devas so joyful? They shout, they sing, play music, clap their hands, dance. See, I ask you, who live on Mount Meru's summit, please dispel my doubt quickly, dear sirs. The Bodhisattva, the foremost jewel, unequaled, has been born for welfare and ease in the human world, in a town in the Sakyan countryside, Lumbini. That's why we're all so wildly elated. He, the highest of all beings, the ultimate person, a bull among men, foremost of all people, will set turning the wheel of Dhamma in the grove named after the seers, like a strong, roaring lion, the conqueror of beasts." Hearing these words, Asita quickly descended from heaven and went to Suddhodana's dwelling. There, taking a seat, he said to the Sakyans, "Where is the prince? I, too, want to see him." The Sakyans then showed to the seer named Asita their son, the prince, like gold aglow, burnished by a most skillful smith, in the mouth of the furnace, blazing with a glory, flawless in color. On seeing the prince blazing like flame, pure like the bull of the stars, going across the sky, the burning sun, released from the clouds of autumn, he was exultant, filled with abundant rapture. The devas held in the sky a many-spoked sunshade of 1,000 circles. Gold-handled whisks waved up and down, but those holding the whisks in the sunshade couldn't be seen. The matted-haired seer, named Dark Splendor, seeing the boy like an ornament of gold on the red woolen blanket, a white sunshade held over his head, received him, happy and pleased. And on receiving the bull of the Sakyans, longingly, the master of mantras and signs exclaimed with a confident mind, "This one is unsurpassed, the highest of the biped race." Then, foreseeing his own imminent departure, he, dejected, shed tears. On seeing him weeping, the Sakyans asked, "But surely there will be no danger for the prince?" On seeing the Sakyans' concern, he replied, "I foresee for the prince no harm, nor will there be any danger for him. This one isn't lowly. Be assured, this prince will touch the ultimate self-awakening. He, seeing the utmost purity, will set rolling the wheel of Dhamma. Through sympathy for the welfare of many, his holy life will spread far and wide. But as for me, my life here has no long remainder. My death will take place before then. I won't get to hear the Dhamma of this one with a peerless roll. That's why I'm stricken, afflicted, and pained." He, having brought the Sakyans abundant rapture, the follower of the holy life, left the inner chamber and, out of sympathy for his nephew, urged him on toward the Dhamma of the one with the peerless roll. When you hear from another the word awakened one, or attaining self-awakening, he lays open the path of the Dhamma. Go there and ask him yourself. Follow the holy life under that Blessed One, instructed by the one whose mind was set on his benefit. Such seeing in the future the utmost purity. Nalaka, who had laid up the store of merit, awaited the victor expectantly, guarding his senses. On hearing word of the victor's turning of the foremost wheel, he saw the bull among seers. Confident, he asked the foremost sage about the highest sagacity. Now that a seed forecast had come to pass. Opening square bracket. Nalaka. Closing square bracket. Dot. Now that I know a seed is words to be true, I ask you, Gautama, you who have gone to the beyond of all things, I'm intent on homeless life. I long for the alms round. Tell me, sage, when I ask you the utmost state of sagacity. Opening square bracket. The Buddha. Closing square bracket. Dot. I'll explain to you a sagacity hard to do, hard to endure. Come now, I'll tell you. Be steadfast. Be firm. Practice even-mindedness. For in a village, there's praise and abuse. Ward off any flaw in the heart. Go about calm and not haughty. High and low things will come up, like fire flames in a forest. Women seduce a sage. May they not seduce you. Dot. Abstaining from sexual intercourse. Abandoning various sensual pleasures. Be unopposed, unattached to beings moving and still. As I am, so are these. As are these, so am I. Single quote. Dot. Drawing the parallel to yourself. Neither kill nor get others to kill. Abandoning the wants and greed. Where people run-of-the-mill are stuck. Practice with vision. Cross over this hell. Stomach not full. Moderate in food. Having few wants. Not being greedy. Always not hankering after desire. One without hankering is one who's unbound. Having gone on his alms round, the sage should then go to the forest, standing or taking a seat at the foot of a tree. The enlightened one, intent on jhana, should find delight in the forest, should practice jhana at the foot of a tree, attaining his own satisfaction. Then, at the end of the night, he should go to the village, not delighting in an invitation or gift from the village. Having gone to the village, the sage should not carelessly go among families, cutting off chatter. He shouldn't utter a scheming word. I got something. That's fine. I got nothing. That's good. Single quote. Dot. Being such with regard to both, he returns to the very same tree, wandering with his bowl in hand. Not dumb, but seemingly dumb. He shouldn't despise a piddling gift, nor disparage the giver. High and low are the practices proclaimed by the contemplative. They don't go twice to the further shore. This unbinding isn't sensed only once. Dot. In one who has no attachment, the monk who has cut the stream, abandoning what is and isn't a duty, no fever is found. I'll explain to you. Sagacity. Be like a razor's edge, pressing tongue against palate. Restrain your stomach. Neither be lazy in mind, nor have many thoughts. Be committed to taintlessness. Independent. Having the holy life as your aim. Train in solitude. And the contemplative's task. Solitude is called sagacity. Alone you truly delight, and shine in the 10 directions. On hearing the fame of the enlightened, those who practice jhana, relinquishing sensual pleasures, my disciple should foster all the more conviction and conscience. Know from the rivers, in clefts and in crevices, those in small channels flow. Know easily, the great flow silent. Whatever's not full makes noise. Whatever is full is quiet. The full is like a half-empty pot. One who is wise, a full lake. A contemplative who speaks a great deal, endowed with meaning. Knowing, he teaches the Dhamma. Knowing, he speaks a great deal. But he who, knowing, is restrained, knowing, doesn't speak a great deal. He is a sage, worthy of sagehood. He is a sage, his sagehood attained.